Hey, okay, so I've kind of decided that I want to make a cello. In my last video, I played with a Nagoya harp, which is this Japanese instrument. If you haven't seen the video, you kind of should. And I was playing with a violin bow, and I got to thinking, this is pretty basic. I grew up playing the violin, and there was always this sense that like violins were these works of art, and mere mortals couldn't possibly think of trying to make something like that. If you want to learn how to make a violin, you have to be an apprentice to a violin maker, and at least 5 or 6 years of making terrible instruments. If you want to make like a guitar, anybody can make a guitar. Like there are people all over the internet making cigar box guitars. And I was looking at the Nagoya harp, and I was thinking, the Nagoya harp is pretty primitive. It has that kind of just like, this is a box with strings on it quality that like a lot of the cigar box guitars have. And I was looking at it and I was thinking like, well, why not? Why can't I make something like this that's for playing with a violin bow? It doesn't have to be like the best constructed thing in the world. Like, let's just see how it sounds if I make like a very rudimentary box and attach some strings to it and bow it. So I was thinking about this, and I was turning it over in my head, and then I was like, well, I've already got the Nagoya harp if I want to make something trebly, and I've also got 2 violins. Like, I've kind of got those octaves covered, but I have like very few bassy instruments. I have got like an electric bass guitar. Yeah, that's it. I just have the electric bass. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a cello. So yeah, that's why I decided to build a cello. To that end, I've ordered a bunch of parts. Let me take you through what I've ordered. So first, if you look on the right-hand side, I ordered a cello tailpiece for $10. And yeah, it's got these fine tuners, which should be pretty useful. Cello tailpieces hook up to the cello. They hook up to the cello end pin using this thing called, I guess it's called a tail gut. I just learned that. And I had to purchase that separately. So I bought that for $5. I bought the tailpiece for $10. Then when it comes to tuners, I don't want to use cello tuners. Like, cello pegs suck. Yeah, one of the things about traditional stringed instruments is there's not a huge amount of experimentation. Like, experimentation might be like, we used a slightly different kind of wood, or something like that. In the guitar world, every day somebody's coming up with like a new way of winding strings, or a new kind of bridge, or some new kind of pickup. There's just like, there are no rules. So yeah, I'm looking to take some of that philosophy and bring it to this project. To that end, I have purchased bass guitar machine heads instead of cello pegs. But I did order a real cello bridge, which it turns out cello bridges are not very expensive. So yeah, those are the parts that I ordered. The only thing left for me to do at this point is to go to Home Depot, get some wood, and wait for this stuff to arrive. Okay, so I'm at Home Depot where I'm gonna purchase some wood, hopefully maple. See you inside. Okay, here I am in Home Depot, and I've selected a piece of maple. Time to get it cut up. Okay, so I got my boards of wood, and I had a cheesesteak, not an actual cheesesteak because I don't eat red meat, but a chicken cheesesteak, which was disgusting. Okay, I'm ready to go home and make this thing. So I think I have all the parts I need for this DIY cello. I've got this board of wood that I got from Home Depot. I've got this, which is just a big wooden box that I bought at a thrift store for $8.98. And I don't know what kind of wood it's made of, and this is what it looks like on the inside, so I'm gonna have to take some of that internal framework out. Ooh, it smells like turpentine or something. And then I've got all the cello hardware, which includes this cello tailpiece. I have to say, I'm pretty surprised by how long a cello tailpiece is. Guitar tailpieces are like that long, so that's gonna be something that throws off all my calculations. I got a bunch of bass guitar tuners, which are huge, much bigger than I was expecting also. A bunch of things that kind of surprised me. I got a cello bridge. And probably most importantly, I got some cello strings. And it turns out that cello strings are super, super expensive. I did not know that. Like a good set of cello strings is like $150. I did not want to spend $150 on this project, seeing as like I could probably buy a cheap cello for that amount of money. So I bought these from eBay for $6. and I'm sure they will sound like $6. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here we are in my basement. This is my work table, which I've cleared off. It's usually much more messy than this. Yeah, I'm ready to get started. I'm going to lay out all of my pieces. Okay, so here we've got our resonating chamber. And I'm going to peel the sticker that says that I bought it for $9 off. And here are all the pieces. Close it back up. Get the board of wood, which is going to serve as our neck. Okay, that's pretty much where the bridge is going to go. And this is where the tailpiece is going to go, more or less. And yeah, okay. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes in this box because my goal is to take this board of wood and to kind of sink it about an inch deep into here. Okay, so I've made holes in the ends of the box and I've shoved this thing through it. I haven't glued anything yet, so it's still mobile, but I'm trying to figure out like what my game plan even is here. Because the reason that this is offset like this is because I want this top lid to be able to vibrate, and I want the bridge to be able to be the thing that actually causes it to vibrate, and I don't want this to make any contact with the top lid. But let's imagine that we have a bridge and it's like this high and the strings are coming off and they hit this. They're going to be too far away from this fretboard for me to even be able to fret them. So I have some thinking to do. There's another thing that I'm noticing, and that's that these bass tuners that I got are huge. If I were to put it here like this, I basically would have room for one tuner. On a bass, you have a much wider headstock. You're kind of like, you've got one here and one there, you've got them side by side, and then you kind of have them in a pattern, a sort of a square, and then you thread them through the nut. I'm not going to be able to do that, so I have two options here. I can either use two of these and have them be on like alternating sides, or I can try to use ukulele tuners, which I happen to have on hand. I have to think about this. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll let you know what I did. Okay, so I've run into another issue. I drilled two holes here because I was planning on putting this thing in. They don't fit. The biggest drill bit that I own is this, and whatever this needs, it's even bigger. So I'm going to actually chop off the wood right here and put these ukulele tuners here. So my neighbor Alan came to the rescue with this, the correct size drill bit. Well, I finally managed to put these two machine heads in, and I will say this is probably the shoddiest job I've ever done on anything in my entire life. So yeah, there you have it. Okay. Put a hole in the center. And that is our screw, and let's see if I can just screw it in. Okay, so I just put the cello string on this, and as you can see, the string is miles and miles away from the fretboard, so clearly I need to rethink things. So yesterday I came down here and I made this discovery that with the original neck, which was coming out of the box like this, the strings were like coming down here and they were like that far away from the fingerboard. So that was obviously not going to work. And I started to look at pictures of real cellos, and I realized that cellos actually don't have straight necks that come out of their bodies. They actually come out at an angle like this. So what I did is I basically chopped the wood kind of arbitrarily. I just kind of eyeballed it, which is obviously a huge mistake. I mean, cellos are obviously like built very carefully. I did this completely by eye, And as you can see, I kind of got the angle wrong so that the neck wasn't straight, and I had to kind of straighten it. So anyway, I did this yesterday. I glued it, and now I'm ready to put some strings on it. Okay, so here it is, the cello, completed. I'm sure it will need some minor adjustments, but yeah, let's hear how it sounds. By the way, this is a real cello bow that I purchased off of eBay. $20. Okay, so first I'm going to play the open strings. I don't, by the way, know how to play the cello, so yeah, this might be a bumpy ride. Sounds a lot like a cello. Yeah. It sounds much better than I expected. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't submit it to a cello building competition, but yeah, this thing's awesome. Yeah, let me give you a tour of the instrument. As you can see, it's made out of a box. It has a handle that rattles all the time as I play it. And I've installed a piezo pickup, so it's a little bit electric. It's mostly an acoustic instrument, but you can pick up some of the vibrations from inside the case. It's got a real cello bridge, which I didn't know this, but apparently when you buy a bridge, like a cello bridge, it's not filed down for because every cello is different. So a master cello maker has to actually file it down and get the action just right. I am not a master cello maker, but I filed it down nonetheless using my sander, and yeah, it seems to work. I bought a tailpiece. In the end, I ended up using ukulele tuners. Yeah, they seem to be working pretty well. I'm surprised that they can hold the thick cello strings. The strings are still $6 strings, so yeah, they sound a little bit like it. Yeah, time to go make some music with this thing.